Delta 1.
Hey, ¿quién habla?
Mira bien, hijo de tu puta madre. Soy Mencho, güey. Relaja tu puta gente a la verga. Soy Mencho, güey. Relaja tus putas partidas. Si no te voy a partir tu madre, tía, toda tu bola de perros. Te tengo identificado 30 güeyes. Hasta tus putos perros te van a matar si no te relajas, güey. ¿Cómo ves?
Ya está, señor, ahorita les bajo.
Oh, no cuelgues, hijo de la verga. Te tengo ubicado en Chacala, güey.
No le estoy colgando, le estoy diciendo ahorita les bajo.
Póngase de las pilas, güey. ¿Crees que le puedes hacer amigo, cabrón? ¿Uno no se mete con ustedes para que se pasen de verga?
No, señor, ahorita yo se las bajo.
Pongan, mire, revíremeles a todos los hijos de su puta madre porque todos agarran dinero y son buenos de puercos.
Sí, lo que me están
¿Se
diciendo
me
que
ponen a tiro o tú eres el primero que vas a marchar por ellos, León?
No, señor.
¿Vale?
No, señor, no se trata de eso.
Váyase a la verga porque aquí los vergazos están en las 20, ya se la sabe. Y miedo no hay.
No, señor, no se trata de eso. Ahorita es lo que...
Entonces, si quieren amistades, sí va a tener un amigazo, cabrón. Si no, a chingar a su madre a la verga.
No, yo sé, señor.
Ya estoy hasta la verga de que no entiendan, loco.
Señor, usted me conoce, usted sabe que yo soy amistad.
Pues por eso me extraña, cabrón. Yo estoy entiendo, güey, pero por lo menos yo sé que tienes gente y la familia de chingada. Verga, no lo pongas de las putas pilas.
Yo lo sé, señor.
No quiero que me apagues este puto teléfono. Después te voy a marcar, güey, a ver si no se relajaron a la verga, ¿eh?
No, ahorita le voy a marcar.
A todos en general, güey. Relájenmelos a la verga, por favor.
Ahorita le voy a marcar de otro número a este número que me está marcando.
No, este ya no le vuelvas a marcar. Yo le marco cuando yo pueda.
Ándale, pues.
Pero no me lo apagues porque lo voy a entender como negatividad.
No, señor, ahorita le mando un mensaje de otro número.
Ahora después millonarios quiero eso, que se relajen a la verga.
Sí, señor, usted me conoce, usted sabe que hay respeto y hay ilusión. Nada más.
Hasta igualmente, de aquí para allá también. Ahí disculpen por la mala palabra.
Aquí los muchachos son los que están allá y usted yo se los saludo.
Ahora pues, ahí le encargo.
Ándale, señor.
Ahí relájenmelos a todos, dígale que va de parte mía.
Claro que sí, señor.
Ya está.
Ándale.
What's up out there, YouTube? This is James coming back at you with another informative video. I hope all is well with you guys out there on this chilly Thursday. It's all good with me. I'm sure some of you may have already be familiar with this situation that took place in Guadalajara, Mexico. Chaos erupts in Guadalajara after the death of cartel leader El Mencho. Okay, he was actually the cartel leader of New Generation Cartel, you understand? And we just seen a little video clip of him going back and forth with the National Guard of Mexico when they came for him. Okay, bad situation. I mean, this guy was in, and it was even worse after his demise because his cartel turned Guadalajara and Jalisco, whatever, over on his head. I mean, I'm telling you, explosions, bombs going off, shootings, American people told to shelter in place, couldn't even leave, on a plane to get back to America because of this situation right here. And also we had other Americans that weren't worrying about leaving, but what they had their mind on was actually looting, as you see this particular one over here in the lower right hand corner. He seized the moment. We're gonna get to that later, but what I want us to do is actually check out the situation that took place after his demise, and basically some of the things I've already covered, and then we're going to get into these American looters right here. So without further ado, let's check that out.
And turning now to those violent clashes in parts of western Mexico. Karen Hua is in Mexico City covering this story for us.
Chaos hit the streets of Puerto Vallarta, the Mexican state of Jalisco, and beyond Sunday, as Mexico's most notorious drug cartel fiercely retaliated after soldiers killed their leader, Nemesio Ruben Ascuera Cervantes, widely known as El Mencho. Ascuera Cervantes was wounded during an operation to capture him in Jalisco and died while being flown to Mexico City. The cartel he led has the highest cocaine, heroin, and methamphetamine trafficking capacity in Mexico, according to the U.S. State Department, which had previously offered up to $15 million for his capture. The violence also hit Jalisco's capital, Guadalajara, just a few months before Mexico's second largest city is scheduled to host FIFA World Cup matches.
Activamos el código rojo.
In response, Jalisco's governor activated a code red security alert, suspending public transit, large events, and school activities as authorities across Mexico race to clear more than 250 roadblocks created by the cartel.
We don't know if we're safe. We don't know if they're going to cancel the flight.
Olga Medina saw smoke rising over Puerto Vallarta from the airport Sunday. She ultimately did make it home to Houston before airlines grounded flights in and out of the resort town.
I feel safe now, but I'm still shaking because I can't believe this has happened to us.
Others were not so fortunate. Adrian Moorfield and TJ Perry went to Puerto Vallarta to celebrate Perry's birthday. They were supposed to fly home to Dallas Sunday. Now they're stranded.
You're kind of there indefinitely.
There were no outgoing flights until Thursday. That does not take into consideration whether or not roads will even be open, the airport will be operating again.
Previously threatened to use the U.S. military to target these Mexican drug cartels. And while this specific case was a Mexican operation, the U.S. government regularly shares intel and resources with Mexico to counter cartels. Michael?
All right, Karen Waugh, thank you.
You may want to reschedule that trip to Mexico. That's what security experts, including former CIA officers, are telling me.
I do a lot of security consulting, a lot of travel, and I've told people this for the last decade, do not go to Mexico.
There have been scenes of violence in Mexico in the days following the death of a cartel leader known as El Mencho. The resort areas have been largely unaffected by the violence, other than shelter-in-place warnings.
I would be looking at the very specific details of where am I going and what has been happening there. But know that if you're traveling to Mexico this week, you are taking a higher risk if you had gone 6 months ago.
Some security experts advise avoiding Mexico altogether, citing long-term volatility. Others say it depends.
Everybody has to go through their own decision calculus to figure out how much risk they're willing to take on in this time of increased potential risk.
A good friend of mine in Mencho, who's also former CIA, he says, you know what spying is? Spying is common sense on steroids. And same thing, when you're traveling, have common sense on steroids.
Wow, that had to be a terrible situation to be, locked in. But now, since this has all happened, the shelter-in-place ban has been lifted, But I still wouldn't take any chances about going to Mexico. Not at all, you understand? Because this is in a bad way right now over there, especially with these cartels. You never know when they might just pop up and start popping off again. You see? So, you're putting yourself at risk no matter what. And this is not going to stop, because I'm sure there are other, cartel leaders, pretty much doing the same thing over there. I just find this pretty strange, kind of shady. Like, this all happened after the capture of the Venezuelan president, over in Venezuela. All of these, like, it seems like Trump is on an agenda, to take down a lot of these Latino cartel leaders or whatever, presidents, what have you. Makes you kind of wonder if, oh boy, the president of Venezuela did a little talking. I don't know. Just a little thing, to throw out there, what have you. Well, moving on. Now, let's talk about these looters over here from America. As you can see, they're white. You see what I mean? They are white, and they weren't worried about all of the bombs going off, and, shelter in place and nobody could leave, the airports or what have you. Gunfire, ravishing through, Guadalajara and all that kind of stuff. But what they was worried about, getting their hands on these people belongings like in these stores, stuff in bags, as you can see. But what I want us to do is check out the particular video, and then I'm going to show you where they got caught and got called out, by one of the Mexican residents and what have you, and what, he told them and the results of what they did thereafter. So without further ado, let's check this out.
And still things like this for these people. No, stop.
An American right here, guys.
I'm Mexican, and you should be ashamed to live to doing all those things. I'm pretty sure if I do the same thing in your country, I will be in jail. So just you go and deliver those things back.
An American right here, guys.
I'm Mexican, and you should be ashamed to live to doing all those things. I'm pretty sure if I do the same thing in your country, I will be in jail. So just you go and deliver those things back. You're stealing. You are stealing. Shame on you. Están robando las cosas estos gringos, güey. No, están robando las cosas. Lo estoy exhibiendo. Gracias.
Now, as we can see, the one right here, the little potbelly one, he had an attack of guilt on his conscience, and really, what it all boiled down to is that he was being videoed. You see, and somebody knew who he was, and he knew that he didn't want to be on video. So what he did was actually return the things that he was looting. You see, he took it back in there, and what have you. Now, as for the other guy, well, I don't know if he took it back. I highly doubt it. I think he just took off, and kept it moving. You see what I'm saying? But it's a shame. Hopefully, the Mexican president over there catch him and lock him up in one of them rat dungeons for a while, and make him pay for their crimes of stealing and looting, with no regard for, the situation that's taking place over in Mexico, with all of this chaos, that has erupted. It's just ridiculous, but that's all they had their mind on. But there again, that's what it all boils down to with a lot of these American tourists. Okay. But what I just witnessed was something like on the lines of terrorists, looting and all that old kind of stuff, thinking about what they can get their hands on, and what have you. See, this is the reason why a lot of countries do not like America. America has a bad name simply because of certain people goes around, throughout all of these other countries and do things like this. Give Americans a bad name. That's just what it is. That's all I got on this one, people. I want you guys to tell me what you think about this situation right here. I'm interested in hearing your thoughts on it. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. People, please remember to live your life as though we're being watched. Simply because we are. This is James, and I'm out. Peace.